I totally disagree. And I dare the WNBA players. I dare you. Walk out.
Yeah,
I dare you to walk out. Go ahead and walk out. I double dare you. Because despite Caitlin Clark, despite all this stuff, they still lost $40 million this past year. There was no bonanza. She's at her height. If you're losing money at her height, how in the world going forward? You just had the biggest bump and you still lost $40 million. I dare the union to walk out. I dare you players. Because it ain't going to be pretty.
Rob Parker goes off on the WNBA players for wanting a raise. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
The WNBA, Rob G, can you let us know what happened over the weekend? The WNBA All-Star Game, they came out with T-shirts on. And they claim they're ready to do whatever is necessary. They're going to walk out and they want more money and all this stuff, Rob G.
Okay. Before the All-Star Game, all right, 2 days before that, 40 players met with the league offices in their latest round of their CBA negotiations, all right? Now, according to multiple reports, the players did not think that the meeting was very productive. They didn't think that it was helpful. They were very upset about what happened during that meeting. So, ahead of the All-Star Game, which is for a lot of them the biggest night of the year, players on both sides, including Caitlin Clark, wore black shirts during warm-ups that read, "Pay us what you owe us."
And the only reason Caitlin Clark did that because she wants to fit in. But at the end of the day, you pay Caitlin Clark, and then whatever else, the crumbs that are left over, you can disperse that amongst the WNBA players. But again, Caitlin Clark, she's just trying to be amongst, the WNBA players. At the end of the day, Caitlin deserves a pay raise, and whatever else you can give to the WNBA players, cool. But everything has to go through Caitlin first.
Originally, I thought it said welfare queens on it, but I didn't have my glasses.
It should have.
My glasses.
All right, so this is where it got interesting, right? You saw the shirts.
The WNBA.
Yeah, I thought, what is it, welfare?
Yeah.
So ignorant.
They only lost the money for 30 years. What do you want?
I know. But so this is where the conversation
and you get government cheese and a ball. Go ahead.
Stop it. Government cheese was good for grilled cheese. That's it.
Go ahead, cook, Rob.
No, this is where it gets complicated, right? Because the WNBA hasn't made a profit in a general sense of making profits for all these years, and it's averaging since it started around $10 million deficit each year. That's what it's operating on. But when you start to dive deeper into it, more so than just the simple math, is where it gets complicated. I think the average person, especially on X, Instagram, Threads, any site, isn't doing the deep dive. So WNBA players are simply saying this, Rob. We are saying most leagues in the NBA, NHL, NBA, NFL, they're making around 50% of the revenue that comes in. 50%. The WNBA is only making, how much you think? 30? No. 20? No. 10? No. 9%.
As they should.
So they're saying, hey, we're only making 9%. Our counterparts are making 50% of the revenue driven. And
I don't know what these WNBA players expect. If you're having a losing business for the last 30 years, over recent, maybe the last year or so, they're bringing in some profits. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything. That 9%, you got to be happy with it. Okay, maybe we give you 10 or 11% just because we have a slight boost, but we don't know if we're going to be able to retain this and keep this up, only because when you have a business that's low-key fading that could be bankrupt any year now, you don't really want to give them 40 and 50% just because you're having a good year or two. You got to wait at least 5 to 10 years, keep this up consistently before you can give every WNBA player a raise. Maybe they'll get it eventually, but Caitlin, she deserves a raise. She should be the highest paid WNBA player. Then again, whatever else you can, spread amongst that, so be it. But Caitlin should be the real one that's complaining.
Then somebody would say, well, what revenue and what's going on? Well, certain good things have happened and favorable for the league, which would be in turn favorable for the players who are essentially the product. The league has secured a new lucrative $2.2 billion media rights deal to begin in 2026 next year, which is expected to significantly increase revenue. So if you don't stand on it now, Rob, you know this from business standpoint, how am I going to get it? If I just go with the flow, all right, give me 9% of the, then I'm not going to get any of that $2.2 billion. But if I say, hey, we got to negotiate and go up to, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever, however high they can take it, that's to me that's just simple good business math. Also, the attendance is up 26%. You and I have talked about that. 23% viewership is up. And also merchandise, which is huge because you get percentage of those sales, is up 40%, nearly half, nearly 50%. So simply what they're doing is saying, hey, if there is money to be made, which clearly there are, not to mention $250 million they're getting for the new NBA, the new WNBA teams, the new franchise fees. So
that goes to ownership. That's split by ownership. That's
right.
not that players don't get that.
Right, but all of this is going into a pot that they're negotiating.
But that doesn't go into a pot. That's what owners get. That's part of why owners they get the expansion fee because you're letting somebody in on your.
So right,
that's
so
not a part of.
Yeah, that ain't a part of the deal, the 250, but I get it, 2.2 billion, all that extra stuff, which is cool. Again, they're eventually going to get a raise, but them thinking that they're going to get 50% of the revenue and all that good stuff, I don't see it happening. But over time, yeah, they're going to get their, 4 and 5% extra. It'll be more than 9%, but if they think they're going to be making what NBA players are making and they really don't have a good business product, I don't see it happening. Again, Caitlin Clark, she can only do so much. But if I'm the WNBA, I'm pulling Caitlin Clark aside like, we're going to get you your money, but, it's going to take some time. But these other WNBA players that are entitled complaining that, this NBA player is making this money and we're not making the same amount, they know damn well that they can't drive the type of revenue and viewership the NBA is doing.
But what I'm saying is if you're taking this information, you're saying nobody's investing in not thinking they're going to potentially make money, right? You're not allowing new leagues, new franchises to come without the idea we're going to make money. And so I think what we're seeing is simply them saying we want more of what is to come, what is being had. $2.2 billion in the media rights deal, 40% merchandise is up, 26% attendance is up. We want more. And I think that's fair. And the thing about a protest is it's not comfortable. Usually people don't like it. You don't like the timing of it. I wish you'd have did it differently. Why T-shirts? Why not this? That happens whatever. You pick it. George Floyd to Vietnam, students against Vietnam War. Like no one's ever going to like when you protest. You kneel in the NFL. It's not the time. It's not the place. So generally a protest is to make you uncomfortable, to draw a conversation, to have, some type of dialogue about these things. And that's what they did. So they got to find a way, continue to grow the league, continue to allow the league to make money and become profitable. But I'm not mad at somebody trying to say, hey, if more money is coming in, our counterparts are getting more. Why can't we? I think that's let me speak for myself. I would advocate for myself as well.
Again, all that's fine and gravy. That's great. That's amazing. But go ahead and sit out if you're the WNBA. Go ahead and really boycott. Really be like, you know what? We're not playing. I don't think that's going to help because people really don't care. Yeah, the media, they may cover it, ESPN First Take, just because it's news, but it's not going to move the needle like if the NBA players decide to sit out and then there's another lockout. So the WNBA players doing it, best of luck, but I don't think people are going to care that much.
I totally disagree. And I dare the WNBA players. I dare you. Walk out.
Yeah,
I dare you to walk out. Go ahead and walk out. I double dare you. Because despite Caitlin Clark, despite all this stuff, they still lost $40 million this past year. There was no bonanza. She's at her height. If you're losing money at her height, how in the world going forward? It ain't going up automatically. You just had the biggest bump and you still lost $40 million. I dare the union to walk out. I dare you players. Because it ain't going to be pretty. You can't collect money for 30 years. This ain't some new league that started and you understand it's going to take a little while to make money. They were subsidized by the NBA. I know firsthand. In Detroit, they didn't want the shock. The commissioner, they begged them, please. I know personally that when they were winning those championships, they couldn't sell tickets.
Yeah, I'm with Rob on this one. Go ahead and walk out. It's not going to be pretty. Again, it will be covered just because it's a sports league, but no one's really going to care. It's not going to move the needle the same way other sports leagues like the NBA, MLB, NHL. If they walk out and refuse to play, that's when a lot of money is going to be lose. But if the WNBA players think just because you got new rights and we're up 40% that we're supposed to be entitled to more, well, we need to pay ourselves back for keeping this league alive for the last 30 years. So before we can give you a pay raise and a bump from the 9%, we need to make sure we can fully recoup and continue to build an actual product before we give all these WNBA players a raise. So I get it. It's business, and eventually it may just happen by default. But by them wearing the T-shirts, them, threatening a boycott or whatever the case may be, good luck to it. But even with Caitlin Clark, the league is still struggling.
They could not sell tickets. They had a full building because they were giving them away. And all I'm saying is you got to crawl before you walk. And I understand wanting more. But are you accounting for the 30 years of red ink that under normal circumstances you would not have had a league? These football leagues that keep starting up, USF, ULFL, all these things. Everybody all I'm ever told is everybody loves football, right? Why don't those leagues last? You know how many of those leagues are folded?
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't sell tickets. The TV numbers aren't good enough. And you can say whatever you want. Caitlin Clark, when she's not playing, the ratings went down 55%. Those are facts.
Real talk. And then people want to hate that when, Caitlin Clark say the WNBA, what about Angel Reese? Yeah, what about Angel Reese? She played, but nothing's really moving the needle. And again, even when Caitlin Clark is playing, the merch and the sold-out buildings, the league is still barely making a profit in this span, but overall they're still losing money. So just because my company gets $2 billion doesn't mean, okay, everybody gets a raise. Check your email and, check your bank account. Here goes $1 billion for everybody. Here goes $100 million. It don't work like that when your business has been losing money ever since it started about 30 years ago.
Not feelings. When she wasn't going to announce that she wasn't going to play the WNBA, the tickets dropped off the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying you're not entitled to money, but it's based off of what you bring in. Devin Booker's going to make $75 million a year, not because they like him, not because he's a man. That's the revenue that is brought in, right?
Exactly.
And over time, that can happen. But come on, man, this is way too premature. And if I'm running the WNBA or I'm the NBA that owns the WNBA, I'm not going for the okie doke because Caitlin Clark showed up. And now there's still plenty of buildings where 6,000 people show up.
Yeah, they can't jump the gun. They can't be scared that, oh my God, the WNBA players are going to walk out. They're wearing T-shirts. This will all just fade away over time. Give it another few days. This won't even be talked about just because, again, the league, they're not making money. Any league that's been losing money for 30 years wouldn't be a league. We've seen it with the XFL in the early 2000s. We're seeing it with these other leagues that not moving the needle only because you're not generating a profit. So why are we just going to give everybody a raise? So at the end of the day, shout out to the WNBA players, but it ain't going to work. You got to try something different. You got to try harder.
Kelvin,
Right.
am I lying?
No, that's facts. But,
Okay. And that's my point.
I hear you. I'm
Don't
not
get it
arguing
twisted.
Listen,
Don't get it twisted.
There's no
but
guarantee.
I double dare them to walk out because you won't have a league.
There's no
Yeah,
guarantee.
it'll be over.
There's no guarantee the league will sustain another 5, 10, 20 years like that. No business. I don't care the model. It could be a restaurant. It could be a movie theater. It doesn't matter. Is guaranteed to succeed. That's just business 101. No business is guaranteed to succeed.
And that's why I brought up the football. Football. Everybody wants spring
we
football.
only want NFL.
They've been trying to do
NCAA football
exactly. Thank
and
you.
NFL.
That's all they want.
And I agree with that. But when you go back to the only thing, if you're looking at this, if you're the WNBA who's seeing this growth when you look at the numbers, and they're also saying, all right, it took sports leagues decades to get viable as well. Because when you look at the NBA,
30 years?
yeah, the NBA took them 40 years to make money.
30 years.
Yes. If you look at it, NBA lost.
Who owned the WNBA? Was that outside, or did the league subsidize to even make that viable? Is what I'm saying. The NBA was its own entity. Right.
Right. But I'm talking about the NBA. I'm saying the NBA didn't make money. They lost $13 million in 1980. That's the year Magic comes in, Bird comes in. And then things take off and they change. That was 40 years of the NBA. They still lost $13 million, which if you did the math into 2025, that'd be $48 million. So all I'm saying is it takes sometimes.
You think it's the same? You think during that
No,
time?
they're never gonna make the same.
No, I'm just
money.
Go ahead, check them.
I'm saying, do you think? Because I was watching the NBA and I was going to games. They didn't have 4,000 people. They didn't have 5,000. Like the league had a up and down period. There's no doubt about it. That was a down period before Bird and Magic.
Yes.
But there was some glory times before
But
that.
they
Let's
were
not-
Yeah, trying to compare the NBA rise to where they're at and losing money in the 70s, 80s, and all that stuff. I get what he's trying to do, pull up the stats. But again, no one really cares about females playing basketball. Just keep it all the way real. Yeah, there's females out there that can ball. I'm not saying that, females shouldn't be able to play sports, but no one's really caring about, a WNBA over the NBA. The NBA could still be losing money, but people will still tune in. With the WNBA, they've been, riding off the back of the NBA for all these years. Without the NBA, there wouldn't be the WNBA. So even though the NBA, it took time for them to really get to the heights they're at now, the WNBA, they may not have that luxury. It's a different day and age. So no matter what the NBA went through, they were able to get out of it, and it spun over to them creating the WNBA, pretty much using the NBA resources. So you can't compare the NBA struggles to the WNBA struggles.
Make it like
No,
that.
but teams were considering how to get out of it, how to get out of business. They were tired of those teams. They weren't making money. So I'm not saying the WNBA will ever be the NBA, but I'm saying businesses take time. So many businesses that we now love, we don't know the history that it took them 20, 30, 40 years to become profitable. That's why people keep investing in these businesses. Even Amazon, it took them a decade to have a profitable year. It just takes time is all I'm saying. And I understand why
30
the players.
30 years.
Yeah, I mean, it took the NFL.
30 years, they have their Messiah, and they still lost $40 million.
And that's why you negotiate when you have your Messiah.
But you lost. If you had a plus on the balance sheet, then maybe I'd say, okay, I saw it. I saw the future. No, we want charter flights. Now we want this. Now you start adding all that. They didn't have that before, so the losses were minimal. Now they're gigantic. 40 million. They got plenty of empty buildings, TV ratings. Let's be realistic. This is a supply and demand market.
Right.
The reason that the Dodgers paid Shohei Ohtani $700 million. Go look at the turnstiles. Go to the games. Go look at the numbers.
Oh no, it's like 2.6 now. I just did a whole thing on the news.
Am I right?
2.6. They're heading toward another 4 million. 4 million.
4 million people are going to Dodger games. That's all I'm saying. Like you can't deny that the money that's there. All right.
Again, man, it's a different ball game with these other sports. I get it. You want to get your money. I'm not saying, don't do it. But if I'm the WNBA players, just be prepared to be let down. The business, not profitable. They've been struggling for 30 years. Just because you got an influx of billions coming in, that doesn't mean you're automatically guaranteed to get a raise. It's going to happen naturally eventually. They got to build up these years and become profitable. They have to stop the bleeding. Just because my business gets X amount of money, that doesn't mean everybody in the company is going to get a raise. It don't work like that. But again, we'll see what happens moving forward with the W, if those players get a raise or if they're going to walk out and boycott the WNBA.